Today I'm going to discuss a topic that might be a bit hard or difficult for some parents. It might also be something that we worry about, something that we're scared of. So I think that whenever there's something that we are worried about or we're worried about addressing, the best thing is to learn about it and try to figure it out rather than just avoiding it. I'm going to talk about how to help our kids set healthy boundaries, how to protect themselves against the dangers of harassment and the things that we hear about these days. Of course, we always teach our kids that God is always protecting us and there for us, and we ask for His protection. And we also need to teach them skills that would help them when something goes wrong, that they would be able to protect themselves, whether from bullying, whether from harassment, whether from any kind of harm they can be exposed to. At the end of the day, we want our children to be safe and to be able to face anything that they come across. So let's talk about the idea of boundaries. Healthy boundaries look like me being able to protect myself and being able to draw a line where I am not crossing the boundaries of anyone else, and at the same time I'm not letting anyone cross my boundaries. So it starts with respect, which we will start by teaching at home and practicing at home. I need to show them that I respect them and expect them to respect me. I respect their boundaries and expect them to respect my boundaries. This comes from how we talk to each other, how we communicate, how we respect each other's personal space. At a very young age, the kid needs to start learning that their body is theirs and theirs alone. No one is allowed to touch them in any way without their permission. We need to teach them at a very early age about the idea of consent, that no one is allowed to kiss me or hug me without me wanting that. My body only belongs to me. So we want to start talking about these things before school year in a very simple manner and without scaring them, just expressing talking about body parts, about how private parts, who is allowed to see this, only family, only mother and father, for instance, or any caregiver at home. If your grandmother is helping or someone is helping, what I'm trying to say is very specific names of who are the only people who are allowed to help them with changing their diapers, to taking them to the toilet, to showering them, and so on. We try to be as clear as possible. And as they start growing, we try to talk about anything that we think they need to know. I know sometimes these topics are a bit uncomfortable for some parents, and we feel that they are inappropriate, and we think that our children are still young to talk about these kind of stuff. But the fact is, what's very important about these topics is to create the space where they would come and share if they come across something, if they see something inappropriate, if someone is harassing them or bullying them or harming them in any way. Kids are very sensitive to our energy when we're talking about a specific topic. So if we are uncomfortable around specific topics, they would get the message that these topics are not welcomed at home. So I would encourage you to think of the issue as learning and knowledge and awareness, and to start tackling the topics that you might think they might be getting exposed to. I'm sure you've noticed that things are much more complicated than when we were younger. So like if you look at 8-9 years old now, you will feel that they have the awareness and the knowledge that you had maybe when you were a teenager. So they are exposed to much more information. They are exposed to a different kind of media sometimes. Their friends are exposed to a different kind of media. So always keep in mind that taking a step ahead and talking about topics that they might come across is more important and is much more helpful than waiting for them to face something and then try to correct the information. And sometimes parents have this idea of making the talk, like we will just sit one time, talk about all the uncomfortable topics or the topics that we see sensitive or we see embarrassing for us, for instance. So we sit down and have the talk about marital relationships and sexual relationships and porn and all the topics that we feel are uncomfortable for us, or we feel worried about talking to our children about them. While what the message we want to send is that there is always a clear channel and an open channel to discuss these things, to talk about them when they come up. If they hear something from their friends, they can come and share it with us. If they learn something new or see something inappropriate, they feel safe to come and tell us and talk about it. If they have a question, they can come and talk about it. So getting back to setting boundaries, I need to start at an early age teaching my child that they can say no to anything that is related to their bodies. And as simple and clear as this seems, sometimes our actions are a bit confusing for them. So if we pressure them to hug or kiss someone from the family, for instance, this contradicts with the message of being in charge of their own body. If we push them to eat after they have said that they are full, for instance, something very simple, but again, they are not in charge of, they cannot say no about something that much related to their body. So what I'm trying to say is that they have the right to say no when they're uncomfortable with something or they don't want to say something, and we help them practice this. If I'm playing with them, for instance, tickling my daughter and she says stop or I don't like it, we have to stop right away immediately to show her that we respect this. If my son is playing with me and does the same thing or says something, I need to respect this. If he's playing or she's playing and they start hurting me in any way or being aggressive, I show them how to stop this. I would hold their hand firmly and tell them I don't like this and teach them to stop right away immediately. So it's about respecting the boundaries and the limits of others and expecting the others to respect us as well. One other very important thing about this part is to talk about the idea of consent, especially when you start talking about relationships and how we need to be very respectful of, sometimes even with my friend at school at a young age, it's a good idea to ask if it's okay to hug you or to ask the teacher if she's comfortable with me hugging her. One very important point with that is to trust the kids' feelings and their gut feeling and how they're feeling about something. So if they say that they don't like to go to a specific practice, they don't like to go to a friend's home, even if they don't have clear reasons, please listen to them and teach them to trust these feelings, and also believe them if they come and say anything that someone did something or someone made them uncomfortable in any way. Never ever blame them for not speaking, never ever blame them for not responding, never blame them for maybe you did something to annoy them or something. The whole point is it's hard to talk when you're in this situation, so we want them to be sure that if they come and talk to us, we will be of help, we will be of understanding, rather than blame or make them feel bad about it. May God protect all our kids and keep them safe. I'll see you next time, inshallah.